The island of Texel is a place of sand dunes, forests, and fields. Exposed on the western side to the fury of the North Sea, it has developed a rich maritime past as the beginning and ending of many seafaring expeditions. Today, the island hosts several large nature reserves, a rarity in a country as densely populated as the Netherlands. Join us as we explore what this island has to offer.
This is a nice one. I'll make an earring for you out of this. And we look for another one.
Natural
or maybe
fashion.
A crab, and hopefully it just like has a crab.
I'm Maya, and this is Aladino. Our journey began a few years ago when this boat fell off a crane. After 4 years of rebuilding her, we named her Magic Carpet and we set sail to go around the world as slowly as possible. This season, we're sailing in the Netherlands. Join us as we explore the history and strange natural beauty of this seafaring nation. From the canals of Amsterdam to the pastoral islands of the Waddenzee, welcome to Magic Carpet in the Netherlands. New episode every Friday. Good morning from Texel Island. We arrived here last night at the end of last episode, and now this morning we're off to explore the island. There's a big bike rental place in the harbor, so we're going to grab bikes and then head off to see what we can find. Now, Texel is well known for its nature. And the northern side of the island, there's sand dunes, and apparently you can see seals. And then there's also just lots of cute little towns and things to see along the way. Pronounced more like Texel by the locals, this island is just one of the Waddenzee Islands which stretch across the border into Germany. It's a rather big island with multiple towns, though of course you should keep in mind that my Canadian sense of scale has now been adjusted to the Netherlands. So when I say big, I mean that we could still easily bike across it in a day. Today was the last nice day before a low pressure system set in, bringing rain and high winds, so we wanted to make the most of the sunshine. Our goal was to experience some of Texel's natural beauty, from the sand dunes to the forests to some of the small towns along the way. We wanted to just see as much as we could. This quiet town right by the harbor is a fishing harbor with a deep connection to the past. Ships often waited nearby at anchor until favorable conditions allowed them to set out to sea. There is a maritime museum here, but we decided it was better to spend the last sunny day outdoors, so we carried on across the island. The next town we arrived to was Den Burg, the largest town on Texel. Located right in the middle of the island, we decided to park our bikes for a quick bite to eat before continuing the journey.
Time for an emergency pit stop. Just need a sandwich and then we continue.
And I was just now doing some research for this town. Den Burg is well known for its shopping, and it says that often people will spend a lot of money here, and I've already bought a hat, so I guess that holds true as well. And then beyond that, they say it's just a cute place, and it's home to most of the year-round inhabitants of Texel Island. Apparently there are around 14,000 year-round inhabitants, but of course population swells a lot in the summer because it's a huge tourist destination. I think it started out mostly as a tourist destination for Dutch people. Dutch people would go on holiday here, but it later got picked up by Lonely Planet, and since then it's also welcomed international tourists. Of course, right now with Corona, things are always a bit quieter, but nonetheless there are still a lot of Dutch tourists here and a few Germans as well. It definitely wasn't the best sandwich I've ever had, but it wasn't the worst either. It was good enough to fuel the rest of our journey. So we're in the national park now, and it's getting much much more wild. As wild as Holland gets. There's still big paved bike roads everywhere. But it does feel really, really nice to be in a kind of forest.
Well, we're out of the forest now, entering the dunes soon.
Yeah. We're gonna go try for a swim.
Wee!
Oh, well, I am. Are you not?
Maybe.
Crazy. Swimming at this time of year in northern Holland. Such.
You'll change your mind tomorrow. It'll all make sense again.
Oh yeah, well tomorrow bad weather's supposed to come, so might as well make the most of it now.
Yeah, totally.
The sand dunes along this coastline act as a kind of natural dike to stop storms from flooding this low-lying island. Although it's hard to imagine on a day like today, the North Sea is capable of becoming a furious, writhing mass of water, legendary amongst sailors. These beaches have undoubtedly seen some violent weather and some shipwrecks, so the sand dunes play important roles in flood protection, but I only recently learned that maintaining the dunes is actually quite a precarious balance. When wind blows onshore, dunes pile up sand, and when wind blows offshore, sand is transferred onto the beach. Left to nature, a perfect balance is achieved, but when humans interfere by traveling or building on the dunes, it can irreversibly alter their shape. The wind still transfers the same amount of sand as normal, but the dunes keep getting shorter and more spread out from human activity. Using bulldozers or bringing in more sand to build the dunes back up doesn't really work because artificial dunes don't have the right sediment layers for stability and will eventually just get destroyed by the elements. I've always been annoyed whenever I see signs that say stay off the dunes, but now that I know why, it's a lot easier to heed those signs.
Brave! How was your swim?
It was wonderful actually, but I didn't bring a towel or a change of clothes, so now I just have to drip dry.
Exactly, well you learn from the locals. I think that's how the cormorants do.
True! So one very wonderful thing about being back in salt water is, first of all, you've got tide, so the tide will bring things up and then go out and bring things up so that you can find all sorts of things on the beach. And second of all, salt water, at least to me, has I don't know, I think more interesting organisms. I think you can find more on a saltwater beach. So this is cuttlefish?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It's like a cuttlefish backbone.
Yeah, I think it's their floaty.
And yeah, I'm not sure if the backbone or not. But the beach is littered with them. They're all over, which is so cool.
That'd be cool. Barbecued cuttlefish, super tasty.
Have you had that before?
Yeah, I love it.
And there's also all these beautiful little shells. I love the sound that they make when you sort of mix them together. It's like bells. Seashells are just exquisite when you look closely at them. The varying colors and the patterns in them and the textures, and they're just incredible works of art. And they're just laying all over the beach. I mean, when you really stop to think about it, nature's amazing. The ocean is amazing. Ah, salt water is so amazing.
Oh, look at this one.
What is it?
I only know their name in Italian. They're called cannolichi. It's also a clam, but elongated like a straw. This is a pretty small one. They get like quadruple the size. And they're super good eating.
Really?
Yeah, barbecued. All of my knowledge just is eating related. It's a bigger one. And you know what it goes good with? Barbecued with a seaweed salad. This is a nice one. I'll make an earring for you out of this.
Oh,
Nice. For you.
yay! Thanks, Simone.
Now we look for another one.
Natural
or maybe
fashion.
a crab, and hopefully it just like has a cramp. Has a cramp and stays hanging.
No, thank you.
No?
No, thank you.
It's fun.
Guys, listen to the sound that the sand makes when you walk on it. Ready?
Just like.
Feeling salty and quite happy, it was time to keep biking. But if you know anything about us, then you'll know that we're almost always hungry, so pretty soon we had to stop again for more food. We found a little grassy knoll in the forest where we had a delightful picnic.
We were really hungry. We bought so many things. Everything that I fancy at the moment. Look at the colors of Italy shining in this panino.
Do you feel your energy levels rising, my love?
Yes,
Good.
this was so needed.
Yes, I was also very hungry. For dessert, we had what is apparently a local specialty.
A filled cake, they call it.
Marzipan, right?
Well, some almond thing could be called marzipan. I like.
Good. Is it a Texel specialty? No? Is it a
Dutch.
Dutch specialty?
They say so.
Okay.
But I would say everything with almond is Italian.
Oh god, everything's Italian if you ask you. Therefore I don't ask you.
If you ask history.
Yeah. Okay, so the picnic is over and it's time to continue the adventure. Now, it's almost 4 in the afternoon, which means we don't have that much longer to enjoy the day before it gets dark and very cold. So we're going to start heading back to more the southern section of the island. There's a very cute town there which we want to look at briefly, and then we'll round out the day by visiting the brewery and then back to the boat.
Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it like you? I'll need another cookie soon if we continue at this pace.
We were heading now to the town of Den Hoorn, a small picturesque village with a very small population. So our tour has brought us now to Den Hoorn, which is a village in the south of Texel. It is apparently known as the Artists' Village because there's a lot of artists who live here, and just walking around the little streets we've already seen evidence of that. There's some really charming little places. It's also well known for a very picturesque church that it has here, and just in general being a cute little place. So our tour ends here. I don't know how many galleries will be open because it's kind of later in the day and it's a Tuesday and it's not high season anymore, but we're just gonna stroll around. Farming and fishing used to be how people survived on this northern island, but now the economy is driven primarily by tourism. Still, here in Den Hoorn, the farming ties were apparent.
We decided to get some brown beans. So $2.50.
We've never heard of brown beans, so we figured it could be interesting.
I like the variety in here. It's cool to see green beans, the white and brown ones. Yeah, you don't usually see those. So $2.50. Dankjewel.
Okay, quick pit stop at the boat to freshen up a little bit before we go to the brewery to round out the day. It's been a really wonderful day. We've done a lot of biking. We'll have to look actually how many kilometers, but it feels like a lot. And we've seen some wonderful things on the island. It seems like a really lovely place to spend more time. It's got a very laid-back vibe. There's all this agriculture, and I think there's lots of art if you look, and lots of interesting little cafes and gift shops tucked into farms in the more rural sections. And I think there's a lot to discover here, and we've only just scratched the surface. But we now have to start to make plans for what we're actually doing, because tomorrow the wind is going to pick up a bit more, and then the subsequent days it's going to pick up even more. And so we're going to get stuck in a place for a few days wherever we are. And so now we have to decide which place we want to get stuck in. This would not be a bad place to be stuck in, but there's lots of other amazing places around here waiting to be discovered. So we've got some deciding to do. But for now, let's save that deciding and we'll freshen up and then go have a beer and maybe talk about plans then. Refreshed and ready to go. I'm feeling very stylish in my new hat. Aladino had a shower. You're also looking very fresh, my love.
Thank you.
By the way, I made both of these things, kind of. These were Aladino's old work jeans, and I brought them in. I put elastic at the back and I slimmed the legs, and I like the look now. And this was, I found it at a thrift store, and it was a giant, like extra large men's linen shirt, but I brought the sides in by like, yeah, even more than my fingers can stretch. Oh, and one other thing about the outfit I forgot to mention are these earrings, which Aladino made.
Wow, what an artiste.
Yes, very much an artiste.
Are they for sale anywhere?
They should be.
They should be.
Yes.
They're so pretty.
The artiste has better step up his production. We were heading towards the Texel's Brewery, well known on the island and apparently one of the largest craft beer breweries in the Netherlands. But when we got there, it seemed closed.
Oh.
I think it's shut.
Oh no.
So I just looked up the hours, and apparently it closes at 5:30.
Oh no.
I don't know what kind of brewery closes at 5:30.
I've got to start drinking in the morning. When does it open in the morning?
At 10:30.
No, really?
Yes. But the silver lining in this whole situation was actually a golden lining, because just look at this sunset as we rode back to the harbor. Yeah, I'm excited to make some dinner. Back at the harbor, in the soft light of blue hour, we returned to our home, floating calmly in the still water. And with that, this episode ends. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the episode, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We post a new video every Friday. And an extra big thank you to our patrons for making these episodes possible. And last but never least, an extra thanks to these folks who really go the extra mile to make sure that Magic Carpet keeps being produced. And we'll see you all next Friday.